Hey guys, welcome to New Hampshire Motor Speedway here for the PMI Truck Series racing here live on the Swag TV network.
Yep, we are at New Hampshire for the New Hampshire Motor Speedway 200. Tonight we have a great show as these talented drivers take on the always exciting virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I'm your announcer, Atlee Atman-Weiss, and joining me tonight to call the action is David Poland. Say, David, how are you doing tonight?
Not bad, man. I've been looking forward to this, seeing these guys in the PMI Truck Series get after it here at the New Hampshire Oval. It's a lot of fun. A tight racetrack puts on a good show.
Got a lot of big names in this, including Garrett Maines. He currently has a pro license in iRacing, so that's pretty big. So we're excited to have him in the race. But after 6 weeks of racing, let's take a look at the PMI Pavement Marking Trucks Series standings. Currently, after the Dover race on November 19th, Garrett Maines is still the points leader. He's won 5 races. Then Nicholas Sacco is in second. Matthew Lee is in third. Andrew Navarro, he moved up 2 spots in the standings after Dover. And Jared Mogard is 5th in points. So still a competitive points race, but Nicholas Sacco in second is 71 points behind Garrett Maines in the standings.
Yeah, wow. What do you think about Nicholas Sacco's chance here in a PMI Truck Series? Do you think he's got a shot at chasing down Garrett Maines? I mean, it looks like Garrett's really putting on a tearing with 5 out of the 6 races won here.
So actually, the only drivers right now that are locked into the playoffs are, of course, Garrett Maines, but also Curtis Critchley. So I think the main things that Nicholas Sacco is going to need is definitely the playoff points and the stage points, and he's going to have a great opportunity to get stage points tonight with 2 stages. We got a 3-stage race. If you've watched NASCAR, then you're familiar with this format. The drivers are going to have 2 qualifying laps, which is going to determine the starting position. Then there's going to be a 3-stage race. Stage 1 is going to end at lap 50. Stage 2 will end at lap 100, and then a 100-lap stage to finish the race. And so the stage points are going to be determined. The drivers in the top 10 at the end of each stage will be awarded stage points. But the winner of each stage is going to get playoff points. And right now, as it stands, Garrett Maines has 31 playoff points. Curtis Critchley has 5. Nicholas Sacco, he has 2 playoff points. Brett Rolls, he has 2 playoff points. Matt Lee, he has 1 playoff point. And Brandon Gagnon has 1. So I think the stage points tonight is going to be the big thing that these drivers are going to want. And the top 10 get stage points, and right now only 14 drivers are in the session so far. So only 4 drivers aren't going to be getting stage points. So this is a great opportunity.
That is a great opportunity for these guys that are a little bit back there to get back into this later in the season here. They can pile up those playoff points. You see what it can do for some guys. You know, Denny Hamlin lived on those playoff points to make it to the Final Four. But Kevin Harvick, he died from them because I think he got a little too comfortable there through the Cup Series. So it's interesting to see a little bit of transition here over to the iRacing platform. And it looks like Garrett's, piled them up to make it to that final round. But as we can see, anything can happen here throughout each week. If you get caught up in a wreck, such as the one that Harvick got caught up with at Atlanta that put him in the wall during the rain, it really can take a toll on your points chances there down the line.
So it looks like warm-ups are done, so we are going to be heading into qualifying. Nicholas Sacco, he was actually the fastest in practice with a 30.125. We'll see if he is going to be the fastest in qualifying. Of course, Garrett Maines, he did not turn a lap during practice, so we'll see how well he does in qualifying. Got Nick Horvath, Derek Fulton, Peyton Howell on the track. I know Derek Fulton, he was part of the big storyline last race. He was the hard charger. I think he started in 19th and he ended up finishing 5th.
Wow, what a run.
Oh, excuse me, no, 4th. He finished 4th and he started all the way in 14th. So we'll see if he can have another good performance tonight.
We've seen some of the best in the world. They don't have great qualifying runs, or something happens in qualifying where they fail and they have to start in the back, whether it's inspection or just the way the car drove through qualifying. But they have something in them to go race really well. It's something that I pride myself on in my racing career, and a lot of other guys do. Is yeah, we're not fast for one lap, but give us 100 or 200 laps, and we can put on a show. So I'm interested to see in some of these guys that don't quite get to qualifying lap there. And Atlee, what do you think? If we get a guy starting in the back, you think it's going to be some good passing here at New Hampshire?
Yeah, I'm sure. There's only 14 cars, so I think that if you're starting in the back, you have only 13 cars, which really, compared to NASCAR, is really not that much cars. So if you have a competitive car and you're starting in the back four, I think that you're going to have to make a lot of passes, work very hard, but I think it's definitely doable. And right now, Peyton Howell, he is not going to be starting in the back right now. He has a 30.120 and is on the top of the board here at New Hampshire.
That's a nice lap. In comparison to practice, he outran the 30.125 there by Nicholas. So it's good to see. Garrett goes out for his first lap and lays down a 30.022, a tenth quicker than anybody all day in practice. We got a wreck here on the front stretch, the 95 truck of Nick Horvath there, got into it a little bit. In 03, got some damage from it.
So it looks like
Gagnon up there too.
I'm interested. A lot of leagues have closed qualifying where you're the only one out there, but it's cool to see that in this one we have open qualifying, so everybody is on the track at one time. So like you said, if there's a spin out during qualifying or you make a mistake, it can affect others too.
Oh, absolutely. Garrett just laid down a 29.9 here in practice, 9.71. What a lap. Matthew Lee right behind him with the 30.098. I'm watching Garrett here. He's just super smooth through 3 and 4 there. Comes up off. He's probably got a lot of rear brake bias in the truck getting that thing turned. This New Hampshire track is so tight. Sometimes naturally these iRacing setups, they're a little bit tight on the early run. You can mess with brake bias is really the only thing you can do to help these trucks.
And you did mention setups. The race tonight is set on full tire wear and full fuel use. The drivers will have access to 6 extra sets of tires. The fuel window is going to be around 50 laps, and the tires should last the full fuel run. And the drivers tonight are running a fixed setup, so everybody pretty much has the same setup. And they were provided by Ryko Motorsports Performance and Paint Shop. Go visit them on Facebook if you want a sweet setup or paint.
Yeah, Ryko puts out a great setup, that's for sure. I've won a lot of races with their stuff, just buying it from their website. And man, they really put on a good set, and it's good to see these guys are going to be racing with some quality setup tonight. Garrett, I see what he does a little bit here. He's running high through 3 and 4. It's a interesting deal with iRacing. You can get that high line run coming into that first lap to get that fast lap. It seems to be one of the things he's doing to beat Matthew Lee by that 10th and a half he's got on him.
Yeah, nice lap being put down by Matthew Lee, not far behind Garrett Maines. Of course, right now, Garrett Maines' car is on a rail, but I think if there's somebody that might try to challenge for the win today, then definitely watch out for Matthew Lee.
Oh, absolutely. Matthew Lee there, and then Brandon Gagnon, he's a very seasoned iRacing competitor. I've seen him online several times running the trucks this past few weeks, and he's been running up front. He's had some run-ins here and there with some cars that were causing wrecks that he got involved in, but other than that, he was running top 5 at the Nashville Motor Speedway, so that was at the fairgrounds there. So maybe he can carry some of that weekly iRacing momentum into this series here on PMI. I'd like to see him get up there and battle maybe a little bit with Garrett and Matthew Lee. We got a lot of other guys here to keep track of. This whole field is within 0.3 of a second. So we got 9 cars under the 0.3 of a second bracket from the leader. Garrett just laid down a heck of a lap.
I see that 29.813 getting into the 29.8s. Man, his car is on a league of its own tonight.
Yeah, he must have put a lot of work in practice-wise this week. He's probably got a lot of iRacing hours. It's interesting to see, you know, everybody's setups from one to the other, and some guys really match with some of the fixed setups, and other guys don't quite feel so good in qualifying to bust out a lap, but then they start coming through the field as the race goes on.
So right before we do the starting lineup, let's take our time to thank both sponsors, starting off Studio Displays. Since 1980, Studio Displays has engineered and fabricated quality exhibits, casework, and displays for museums, corporate interiors, retail environments, universities, sports facilities, airports, and public institutions throughout the U.S. The Studio Displays team has always created out-of-the-box ideas with complex design and superior execution. For more information, visit them at studiodisplays.com. Now, we would also like to thank none other than ComServe Wireless. ComServe Wireless aims to provide a culture of good for its employees, customers, and throughout the communities in which they serve. ComServe Wireless has 27 Verizon Wireless locations between Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, but everyone can shop at ComServeWireless.com. ComServe Wireless enhances Verizon's proven reputation as America's most reliable network with their commitment to providing the speed you need. So this league would not be possible without both sponsors. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. We got Garrett Maines. He's the number one, and he's ironically starting in position number one. He's in the pro class, and he set a scorching time of 29.813. Starting second is Matthew Lee. Then third, we have the 11 of Peyton Howell. Fourth is the 29 of Nicholas Sacco. Starting fifth is the 83 of Brandon Gagnon. And starting outside of him, starting sixth is the 14 of Billy Weeks. Starting seventh is another ironic one. In the number 7, it's Derek Fulton. Starting 8th is the 6 of Jimmy Frazier. 9th is the 68 of Ryan Kendall. Starting 10th is the 95 of Nick Horvath. 11th is the 15 of Jason Rominger. 12th is the 3 of Jonathan Thompson. And we also have Jason Maines, and who did not set a qualifying time, but he is also in this race. So, starting on the pole, we'll get it on Garrett Maines for this one. He's going to be starting inside of Matthew Lee. We got the Mustang. Wait and see when he pulls in. And the pace car is in, and we are green here at New Hampshire. As Garrett Maines is off, he's getting a push from the 46. And he is going to clear
takes
them.
off to a nice little jump there on the restart. Gets about a car length on him by turn 1 and 2. Matthew Lee here side by side. Looks like with the Peyton Howell machine.
It looks like Matthew Lee is going to clear Peyton Howell for second. These three are like a train going into turns 3 and 4. We'll see what they will be able to continue to do. Brandon Gagnon, he started in the 5th position. He made a position over Nicholas Sacco and moves to 4th. Let's see if he can catch up to the front 3. And right now, Matthew Lee.
46 truck here, falling off a little bit of those 2 leaders. They've gotten a little bit of a gap between him, but here it looks like the 04 truck is going to stay with their Matthew Lee here for the lead. I'm sorry about that, Garrett Maines. Matthew Lee is sticking with Garrett Maines here for the lead. Garrett has not ran off to that 2/10 advantage he had in qualifying, so it's very possible the 04 truck has enough power under the hood there to stick with him.
But I do know last race, the finish ended up being a, I believe, 1 second finish over, or maybe even 2 over the leader. I know that fuel is going to definitely separate these drivers. And again, if you remember, the 50 laps is going to be the fuel window for tonight's race. So that should come into play.
Jimmy Frazier there just making up a spot on Derek Fulton, who's a seasoned truck vet also. Jimmy seems to be feeling pretty good here early on, starting in the 8th position, working his way up to 6th already. He's making his move towards the front here as quick as he can, where Derek seems to be staying nice and easy here, running steady, 7th. He's probably saving those tires for the long run.
Right, this track can absolutely tear up your tires. That's why you have 6 extra sets here, and I'm sure these drivers are going to try to use as many as they can to keep their cars nice, fresh, and fast out on the track. It takes a little while for them to break in. I think at about lap 10, they'll finally be ready, and they're going to start working. But right now, up to a 5/10 lead, Garrett Maines.
He's working his way out there here. Keeping an eye on towards the back of the pack here. We got a few guys moving back and forth. Billy Weeks seems to not be so happy with his truck, falling from 6th to 8th. We have Jimmy Frazier still working his way to the front. Besides that, the top 5 has stayed pretty even keel. They know there's 200 laps on this race, and they got plenty of tires, but they may be trying to save a little bit. So at the end, they can strap on a set of 4 new tires to try to get a little bit of an advantage, knowing with Garrett Maines' advantage here, being 2/10 in qualifying, they know they're going to have to do something. You can't follow the leader all race long, but then again, we have seen Jeff Burton lead all the laps in a cup race here, so it's hard to say what the strategy is going to be here for these guys. What do you think, Allie?
Right now, we gotta, but I feel like right now the first couple laps, maybe even the first stage, is gonna be just trying to get used to New Hampshire with cars on the track, get a little bit more practice in. Then the first stage is gonna end. You're gonna get some more tires. I think once stage number 3 is gonna start, that's when the pedal is gonna go to the metal on these Gander outdoor trucks. But we will see. Every driver I know has a different strategy coming into this one.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Jimmy Frazier here is working on the 29 truck of Nicholas Sacco. He's trying to make his moves here early. It's a bold strategy. I know you can burn up the right front here. Personally, have done that. There's actually Sacco working on Brandon Gagnon, trying to get up underneath him here, but it's hard to complete that pass. Let's see if he can stick with him down a straightaway. Now he seems to slide in line behind the 83 car. He's going to fight another day. And here we go. They're bumper to bumper.
So here comes Jimmy Frazier trying to get under the 29 machine. But I mean, back up front, the 3, the 1 car of Garrett Maines, the 04 Matthew Lee, he's not too far behind. He's still 4/10, but not as close as he was a couple laps ago.
Yeah, Matthew Lee seems to be sticking with him here on the long run. He's got a middle line where that's what's cool about New Hampshire. You got 3 or 4 lines you can really work on. If you're Harvick or Kyle Busch, maybe 5 or 6 the way they drive. But here we got Derek Bolton working on the back bumper here. He's getting underneath the Jimmy Frazier. Looks like he's making his move now. He saved on the early run. He can't quite get to him. He's down on the left rear, doing what's called the diamond technique. He's gonna flow up the middle to get a good run up off. If he can stay there is the goal, but he can't quite this early in the run. He needs to stay up on that left rear to get up by him and pass him. You got to have that real estate before entry. If you're trying to make up that much ground, it's so hard. And they actually get together here. Derek Fulton and Jimmy Frazier wrecked there.
And so the caution has come out here at New Hampshire. We'll take a look and see what exactly happened during this accident. So he was side by side making a pass. One was tired of being in 7th, wanted to make a position, and so they're side by side going in. Ooh, a little bit loose off. Then makes contact.
Yeah, looks like the 6 truck there gets up just barely, squeezes it from hitting the right front on that outside wall, and then trying to overcorrect it a little bit, comes down and hits the 7 truck and sends him for a ride. See that damage there? How bad is that on the 7 truck? Looks as though he stayed pretty safe. Both of them spun. Other than that original right front contact he took from the 6 truck, I don't think he's going to be too bad. These trucks are very sensitive, aero-wise, especially at these speeds at New Hampshire, but I believe he comes down the pit, the crew can work on it a little bit and get him right back into it.
So I'm looking at that car. The main damage is definitely that right front tire where he made contact with Jimmy Frazier. So hopefully he can get that fixed.
Yeah, I don't think Derek's going to be too happy with what happened there, getting up on the straightaway. But I think Derek's a smart enough driver. He's going to keep his cool here, knowing that racing accidents do happen. It's early in the race. I believe Jimmy was trying to push and stay in front of him, knowing he probably had a faster truck early in that run, and he was just trying to stay in. He got a little bit wide up off of 2 and came down, hit him. But I don't think either of their races are over. Luckily, with that big runoff room down the backstretch, they were able to keep both trucks intact for the most part.
And I was just about to mention while we were talking about how like the lines, the main thing, if you've raced at New Hampshire, you know that there's a term that a lot of drivers use, talk about how they grunt off the corners, and that helps the brakes, that makes them capable of getting things slowed down at the end of the front straightaway and the backstretch. So I feel like drivers who can baby the brakes feel like are going to be the most successful here at New Hampshire.
I definitely agree with that. One place I'd like to be is where Garrett Maines has been the whole race. When you're in control of the field, that's when you're at your best, and you're able to get that clean air on the nose. You don't have any kind of aero tight or aero loose coming onto the car, and you're able to kind of control it. You got the guy behind you, as we've seen. I keep relating to some cup racing. It's just so familiar with Harvick and Logano. When Logano was out front there, he was able to keep the air off his nose and be able to drive through, where Harvick was clearly faster, but when he got up too close to Logano, it affected the air on his nose. I think that's the control that Garrett's going to be able to have here. It's not as effective here at New Hampshire, but it definitely affected in this game enough to where, simulation, I should say, because it is no game. These guys are very serious out here, but absolutely, it can affect the truck, and they're back green here.
Yep, Garrett Maines gets a great restart, and the 04 is going to pull into second. I'm not sure if the 46 is going to have anything for him. Yep, they're going to just stay the same. 1, 2, and 3. It's the same as how they started this race.
Got a good 3-wide battle back here. You see that? It's looking like some good racing here.
Got the Derek Folt machine. He's side by side with Jonathan Thompson. He is definitely wanting to make his way back up through the field to try to get to where he is. He's currently in the 7th position already. He just needs to make it by Nick Horvath to get into 6th.
Okay, he's trying to get right back where he was. He's actually improved on the position now. I believe if he moves up into the 6th position here, beats out Nick Horvath for it. It seems Horvath is staying. I'll fight another day. Also staying. Let me take care of these tires. Derek said I'm wasting no time. He's also probably got a new set of tires. Not 100% sure on that, but I'm sure with the damage he had that he was going to grab. Looks like he's still got a little bit of right front damage there, by the way. But he probably grabbed a set of tires, and we may be surprised here. He may work his way to the front here a lot quicker than expected.
Yep, I'm looking at this right front suspension of the number 7 car, and he does have tremendous right front damage on that number 7 machine. So I think if he gets another caution, he might be able. And there he goes. He flies by Nicholas Sacco and takes the 5th position.
And 4 new Dr. Feelgood tires on that car. He's very happy with it. He screams into the top 5 here. He's going to start working his way on to Brandon Gagnon here. Brandon's a pretty smart, patient racer. I think he's going to let him go if he gets to him here. It actually looked like Brandon really drove it hard up off of 2. But already, here we go. We got Derek Fulton working his way to the inside, working on to the top 4 already from all the way in the back after being involved in that accident. It's amazing what fresh rubber can do for you here.
We should be able to see that after a lot of times when these drivers, if we do have a long green flag run in that final stage, there's going to be a lot of pit strategy, and we'll have to see how much that fresh rubber. I know the race at Dover, when we had that 50-lap pit stop with the 100-lap stage 3, there was definitely a lot of strategy, and the drivers that had fresh rubber were going right around the leaders, getting their lap backs. So we know that it's going to help Derek Fulton tremendously.
No doubt, Atlee. I'm seeing him working on Gagnon here now. I like the way Brandon's racing him. I said he was going to be very patient. But one thing I like to do is hold guys right front when you're racing them, because it can burn their tires off a little bit, so that advantage Derek has goes away a little bit. He's still going to have a lot more speed. But if you have somebody that holds you up like that right there and you're pushing really hard, you can burn up that right front a lot quicker than you realize. Next thing you know, you got those brand new tires, but they're not so fresh anymore. You even up and you fall in place. But I guarantee he's still got a little bit of an advantage here with those 4 fresh Goodyears. He's working up into the top 3. Looks like Peyton Howell's next on his radar. This is exciting to watch. I like seeing guys work their way from the back, especially with a little bit of anger underneath the belt. They get a little upset, and it makes them drive a little harder.
Yep, he's beginning to catch up to Peyton Howell. He's only 8/10 off of leader Garrett Main, so he is definitely fast. We'll see if he'll be able to make it by Peyton Howell. I think he'll be right side by side with him in the next couple of laps, and maybe next lap maybe.
Well, definitely. He's caught them in a hurry, and it really, the top 4 under a blanket here. They've really closed up the gap on Garrett. Garrett had a dominant car, and actually, here's a move by Matthew Lee. He's going for the lead here.
Side by side. Into 1 and 2. Matthew Lee, looks like Garrett Maines, he has the nose, and he's gonna clear him. He tried to get by him, but it was not successful. He's gonna pull back into second, and looks like Derek Fulton, while that battle was going on, he took third.
Absolutely, and a little bit further back, that 6 truck that was also involved in the accident, Jimmy Frazier, has worked his way into the top 6. Looks like he's working on the top 5 here just a moment. He actually has climbed into the top 5. There he is entering 1 there on the high side. He has cleared Brandon Gagnon. He's got the top 5 position. And Derek Fulton already working on that 2nd position. And I think Garrett Maines said, I'm going to get on out of here. That 7 truck is flying.
Right now, Garrett Maines, yeah, you've seen how he's increased his gap over Matthew Lee. Let's see if Derek Fulton can do it. He has not been successful yet in making a pass. I think right now he's trying to set it up, make sure that he can do it. If you see a driver sit behind the car in front of him for a very long time, they're trying to set up that pass, and I think that's what Derek Fulton's trying to do right now. Derek Fulton is 0.2 faster than Matthew Lee last lap. He's at a 31.355, which is, again, 0.2 faster than Lee.
Wow, yeah, he is flying. He's on rails, as we say. And I'm curious if he can get up there and start racing with Garrett. What does that do for Garrett on his race strategy? Does he start taking tires a little bit sooner, realizing that advantage? Because, I mean, Derek started all the way in the back. If I'm Garrett, I'm still trying to control the race, but you got to think long term. And when it comes down to 15 to go, I mean, I don't even believe it's been 15 laps since the caution. And we're looking at Derek Fulton going from dead last to almost up front in the lead. So you got to think a guy like Garrett with his speed, he may be thinking a late run tire change, depending how the cautions break down.
Yep, he stayed out in that 100-lap stretch last race at Dover. So he stayed out for a very long time until like almost 20 laps left. And that allowed a lot of the drivers with fresh rubber, they were flying right by him. So we'll see if maybe what he's seen from Derek Fulton might change his strategy a little bit.
Well, absolutely. You got to watch that. And I'm sure you learned a lot from the last week. That's what's interesting with these races. When you bring in 200 laps and you start throwing tires at it, it changes the whole game up. And Derek's proven that here. But remember, we were talking about how the 7 truck might start to even out. He's definitely faster than these guys, but now that it's been on kind of a long run, it looks like the 7 truck's kind of taking it in, and he's burned up that right front just enough that he can't quite get a run on the 04. I mean, there are gaps bumper to bumper here, and it doesn't look like he can make the move.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to. He's been trying lap after lap after lap, but he still hasn't been able to do it yet. Now it looks like Matthew Lee is starting to run faster lap times than Derek Fulton. And right now I'm looking at it. Right now these drivers are a second slower than they were, I don't know, 10 laps before.
Yeah, see, Derek started off, he was running, he ran a 30-50 on that lap 16 lap. You can see the difference in qualifying. He was actually 6 tenths lower than the pole. But the deal with that also is he's stuck in traffic, and he worked his way through the field running between 90s and 70s were his fast laps. I'm sure catching those cars if we've kept an eye. But he's fallen to the 31.2, 31.3 bracket, just ran a 31.5. Let's see what our leader's running here. It looks like Garrett there is sitting in, also running between the 3s and the 5s. Probably just depends. I'm sure Garrett's a smart driver, trying to save as much tire as he can, not drive too far off the front bumper in second place. But Derek made that move while I was yapping my trap, and it looks like he's going to make a move for the lead already.
Wow, what a storyline. He got in an accident, restarted in the back, and here he is competing for the lead. Derek Fulton is on the quarter panel of Garrett Maines. He's trying, I think he's going to do the same thing with Matthew Lee. It's going to take a little while to get by him, but when he does, he'll fly.
I guarantee you Derek was very, very upset after that wreck, just with how his race was going so far. But he probably wasn't expecting to drive from dead last all the way up into the second position and now battle for the lead. But don't speak too soon. Jimmy Fraser is going to have something to say about that. And these two that were battling it for trying to get in the top 5 may be battling it for the lead here.
I'm just now looking. Jimmy Fraser is catching up to Matthew Lee in third, and he might be side by side with Derek Fulton very, very soon. He's had the same storyline that Derek Fulton involved in a previous caution, started him back, and here he is battling up front. So we'll see if he can make it by Matthew Lee in the coming laps.
Yeah, it looks like Jimmy's working on him now. I'm curious if the reason he took a little bit longer to get to the front here than Derek was he conserving tire a little bit, trying to make it extend the long run. Knowing New Hampshire is known for their long green flag runs, has he been saving a little something here? And we'll know here if Jimmy and him get out front and get to racing. But it looks like, again, the 7 is making his move on the 1 truck of Garrett Maines. He may clear him here. No, not quite. They're door to door here through 3 and 4. Who's going to give?
Garrett Maines, he has the nose, and I think he's going to get the lap, but still, he's going to clear Derek Fulton for now. He has the speed. He ran a 10th faster than Garrett that last lap. Just Derek Fulton, he needs to make it by him, and I know it's going to take him time, but he doesn't have that much time until the end of the stage, because I believe we are now 15 laps to go.
Absolutely. This stage may end with these two trying to run for the lead. It's actually become a 4-car battle here. They're getting real tight. If Jimmy Fraser can get up there with those fresher tires than everybody else, it may surprise us who this stage win comes down to. But Garrett's going to have something to say with that by the end of this stage. I think he's going to try to hold off that 7 as much as he can, just due to the fact that there's playoff points involved.
Yeah, Derek Fulton and Jimmy Fraser, that's one thing that they are looking for, is the playoff points. Right now I'm looking, Derek Fulton, he is 6th in the point standings, and after finishing 4th, he moved up 2 spots in the points. So I think another good performance is going to be just what the doctor ordered for Derek Fulton's current points.
Oh, absolutely. Another person that's actually made a great move in this race so far, going back a little bit here, Jason Maines, I'm assuming in relation to Garrett, has made his way from the 13th position into the top 8 already in that number 2 truck. He's working right now on Brandon Gagnon there, back for 7. Just little things we don't always catch in a race, is these guys making these big moves from the back. I don't believe he's got new tires, but he may. Some interesting racing going on here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
To answer your question, yes, he does have new tires. He did not set a qualifying run, so that automatically put him in the back, and so he went in and got some fresh duds, and now he's trying to get by Brandon Gagnon and Nicholas Sacco to try to be up there with those leaders up front.
Now back to the leaders. Looks like it's come down to a 3-car battle for the stage. A 6 truck I was thinking he was conservative stuff here for the end of the run, and maybe he's doing just that. There's still 11 to go. We may be surprised and see him get involved here, but I'm sure what he's hoping for is that 7 and the 1 truck to get running side by side there. Garrett Maines and Derek Fulton, if they get running side by side, that'll put them right in the thick of things for some playoff points.
I think that's also what Matthew Lee is hoping as well, because if you're a racer, if you've raced yourself, if you're watching, you know that when 2 drivers are battling up front, it can definitely slow down a lead. Like, let's say, for example, 2 drivers are a second ahead of someone. If they've been battling for 5 or 10 laps side by side continuously, I think that 1 second lead might shrink down to, I don't know, 5/4. So I think the same thing is going to happen if these 2 get side by side for both Matthew Lee and Jimmy Frazier.
Definitely. It looks like Derek and Garrett are running away with it right now. Matthew Lee and Jimmy have fallen off just a little bit. Matthew Lee is staying there in touch just in case they get together and he can make a little bit of a pass there, a little bit of maneuver to get around both of them. But it looks like right now the stage is going to come down to Garrett and Derek racing for the win.
We got lap traffic coming up here. That's the 15 of Jason Rominger. He's going to do the typical racing thing for a lap car. Is going to move all the way to the high side, and they're going to go right around him and continue racing. Of course, he is going to get his lap back with the lucky dog during this stage, so Jason Rominger doesn't have to worry about going a lap down right now, but it looks like these 3 are still in that tight pack, and then Jimmy Frazier's 1.6 seconds behind these 3.
Yeah, Matthew Lee must have been just sitting back there. He got right back in range of the leaders there.
Back looking at Jason Maines back here. He still has not made his way by Brandon Gagnon for 7th, so I'm not sure what's going on with that 2 car. Might see him get better as the stages go by.
Yeah, I'm sure with those new fresh tires, he was able to make some moves, and maybe he's trying a little strategy here for when the stage ends. But there is only 6 to go here. We're coming down to the end. One of these guys are going to have to make a move if they want the stage win.
Right, Derek Fulton, he's starting to fall behind a little bit from the 1 of Garrett Maines. He's still there, but he lost a little bit of ground on him. But I think that he's going to be right on his bumper, running a little bit of a higher line than Garrett in the turns, diamonding the corners.
To reel him back in right here there through 3 and 4. He's going a little bit higher. He's able to get that run up off, and it keeps the RPMs up just enough that when he gets up onto the straightaway and into that draft, he's able to pull that 1 truck back in.
Let's look at the onboard cam of that 7 of Derek Fulton to see. So he's right close to the bumper. He's got him in his sights. So this is going to be 5 laps.
Down to 5 to go. Yeah, 5 to go here in the stage. Derek's really putting on the heat now, but Matthew Lee's going to have something to say about it before it's all over. It looks like Derek peaking again off of 2, not quite going to get there. He's got to set him up down the straightaway, make his move on entry, and try to get him up off.
So I think for the rest of this stage, we're going to watch the onboard cam of the 7 of Derek Fulton to see how he's trying to make the pass on Garrett Maines.
Well, absolutely. You can see here he's got to put a lot of wheel into it in the center here, more so than the rest of the corner, which seems about normal, but these trucks get a little bit tight. Actually, right there, he got a little bit of a tight, loose condition. It's where you got a lot of wheel into it. You're trying to feed throttle back to the truck, and the rear end steps out on it. So it's a tight, loose condition he's dealing with here at New Hampshire. I'm sure a lot of the guys are, but he's going to work really hard here up off of 4. He reeled him in a little bit, but it seems the 1 truck just has a little bit more down the straightaway, keeps some momentum up.
Yeah, he's right there, running a little bit lower line than he did a couple laps ago. He's just trying to stay right there with Garrett Maines. He wants that stage win, and he's only going to have 2 laps now to try to get it. So I'm not sure if he's going to really have to work hard.
Yeah, the chrome horn might come into effect here. He might have to use them up to move them up the track. It's a little bit early. It is only stage points. But I can tell you one thing, starting on the front of a full field of cars can help a lot. If he gets that first position, it also helps him on to pit road and keep a little bit of an advantage so he doesn't have to sweat so hard about starting on the high line going into our second stage.
And I believe this time by, we're going to see the caution coming out. Looks like Garrett Maines is going to end up winning the stage here at New Hampshire.
What a great first stage. These guys were door to door. Derek really put in all the effort to get to him. He just didn't quite have enough for him for that final stage. Here they go. They're going into turn 3. Seems as though now the one truck is really driven off from him. I believe the caution should be coming out here in just a moment here. We're going to come to the line for the green and white checkered. Stage 1 is complete. The one truck of Garrett Maines is going to take the win, but not without effort. Derek Fulton coming from the back after a bad wreck here early in the race to come all the way back to finish second. What a ton of grit by Derek Fulton putting it on the line here.
Caution, yellow flag.
So these cars are, yep, there we go. The caution has come out here at New Hampshire, and Garrett Maines is going to end up winning stage number 1. Great job to him. So we are going to take a quick break as we get prepared for stage number 2.
What we can do, it's like a newborn puppy. Like, I want to show you how cute we are. Come see us. Come see what we can do. You'll be amazed. My name is Kim Connolly-Wilner. I worked for Studio for almost 4 years. I project engineer, creative direction, graphic designer. Outside of Studio, I like to paint, knit, crochet. My favorite thing about working for Studio is the ability to be around like-minded people. And the work is cool. When I was first told about Studio, is the wood shop, the metal shop, and how they can take nothing and build it. That's what I've been around my whole life, so to have the opportunity to actually work here is pretty amazing. When I came onto Studio, Tom was sort of this unicorn. So you'd hear his voice, you'd catch a glimpse of him, you just naturally wanted to be around him. This big smile. I loved to go into his office and kind of poke at him, see what he was working on, have him talk to me about past projects. I wanted to learn what he knew. This is his legacy, everything. You feel him every day. When you sit down and you're starting a new project, it really is something in the back of your mind, like, would Tom like this? Would he think this is cool? You know, he was kind of a mentor to a lot of people, so you don't want to disappoint even though he's not around us anymore.
Welcome back to New Hampshire, to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway 200. Garrett Maines looks like he won the race off of pit road. Matthew Lee second, Peyton Howell third, Jimmy Frazier fourth, Nicholas Sacco, and after pit stops, Derek Fulton falls all the way to 9th.
Wow, he must have had a bad stop there. Either he just didn't get down pit road like he thought, or maybe he took more tires than everybody else. Do we have a graphic on that, or do we know what these guys took?
No, but he looks like he had a 41-second stop. Excuse me, like an 11-second stop compared to Garrett Maines. Matthew Lee and Peyton Howell all had 14-second stops. So it looks like he had a quicker stop than everybody else instead of him taking longer than everybody else. But looks like when you look at how long it took him from the start of pit road to the end, it took him longer than Garrett Maines, Matthew Lee, and Peyton Howell. So I think he might have had something happen, like he had to backed he made a mistake when he went into his pit stall.
Yeah, I was curious. Maybe damage came into play there. Something to do with that right front. Maybe the team was working on it a little bit more. But it is very possible that he didn't quite get a good run down pit road with the competition as tight as it is, bumper to bumper. You mess up 1 or 2 times here on pit road, and you can find yourself mired back in traffic. But I'm sure he's going to give us plenty of excitement here after watching him on that first run. We'll see, though. The playing field's even this time. He might not have such an easy time getting to the front.
And the lights on the pace car have turned off. The front 3 is going to be same as we restarted. So this is going to be almost a repeat of how we restarted the race in the beginning. We'll see, can anybody dethrone Garrett Maines as the leader? He's led all 50 laps tonight, so we'll see if anybody's going to have anything. We'll watch that Mustang, see when he pulls in. And he does.
The Ford truck is laying back a little bit. Garrett gets a heck of a launch there. Ford truck's going to pay for hanging back to 46. Is already making a move on him. They're Peyton Howe.
Yeah, Peyton Howe. Oh no!
Oh, and he turns them.
Yellow flag.
Caution is out. In a wreck on the restart. Second caution of the night. So let's look at this.
You cannot blink in this race in here, and you will miss something. And that was wild right there. Peyton just looks as though he gets in the corner a little bit deep and stays up high. And Peyton Howe, sorry, that was Peyton on the bottom, and Matthew up high. Did not expect him to ride in so high there. Let's see when we get back to the replay here. That was some hard racing there for the top 3.
Yep.
And unfortunately for Matthew Lee, he's going to be the one taking the brunt of it.
Let's look at that replay one more time. So here it is. We are currently on the front straightaway as we are restarting. 46 and the 04 are side by side. And right about now, you'll see the 46 start to drift up the track a little bit. Then he fixes it and he starts to go back straight. Then the 04, I think he might move down a little bit in the turn. He makes contact with the 46. That sends him flying out the track and into the wall. Ooh, that badly damages the back of that truck.
That does not look good for Matthew Lee. He's going to have to come to pit road on several occasions here. Try to get that hot rod fixed. Now, just like real life, you're not going to be able to return it to the way the boys put it together at the shop. So he's going to come out. It's going to be a little bit different of a handling for that 04 truck. I'm sure they're discussing it over the driver's radios right now, unlike real life where we have no contact with each other. When you're in the cars, in the cockpits in this game, you can say right to your competitor how you're feeling, and guys get really heated about that. I'm interested if I could hear what Matthew Lee had to say about that start. I'm sure he's not too happy, but hopefully he can get back into things here once the crew fixes that Toyota Tundra up good. Studio displays on the hood. Hopefully they can get that all straightened out.
Garrett Maines, he did lead that entire restart. Looks like Matthew Lee is going to go a lap down. That is going to hurt tremendously to that 04 car.
Now let's see, he is the only car a lap down, so if he can survive this next stage without another car going a lap down or staying in a lucky dog position, it may make out to be a good strategy. Maybe he's betting on some more cautions, get him back into this race, but earlier we missed. Jason Rominger actually got the lucky dog and got himself back on the lead lap. So it's very possible here at New Hampshire for that to happen, but you have to have the cautions laid right, and you better be up on your game being the fastest car one lap down.
So I believe this time by the lights on the pace car will go off, so then it's going to be all on the pace car, and then on Garrett Maines, it's going to be starting the restart again.
The lights are out. Matthew Lee stays on pit road. The damage may be worse than expected here. He's hoping to get it done here before the start. I can guarantee you that he may end up going multiple laps down here when this green comes flying out.
Yeah, he hasn't stopped off of pit road. Lights on the pace car are off, and he is still off. All right, so he has stopped, and he's going back onto the track, but he's going to be, I think, 2 laps down, if not 1.
beat the pace car out there. He does beat the pace car out from the looks of it, and he's going to come out. He's going to try to catch up to the tail end of this field before they go green. He should be able to do it here. It's a little bit of a long track to try to do that on, but he may make it to the tail end of the field and try to ride until he can get that truck fixed completely and maybe get his lap back.
So let's see where pace car is about to pull in.
A little bit of gamesmanship here right now. I'm not sure what's going on there, but the 6 truck ends up in the 2nd position here. Jimmy Frazier starting on the outside right in front of Gagnon.
Green, green, green.
And great restart for Garrett Maines. Gagnon is trying to make a pass for 2nd. And he's going to clear the 6 of Jimmy Frazier. Jimmy Frazier falls all the way down to the 3rd position. He's got Nicholas Sacco right behind him. I did realize earlier Peyton Howell was in the 2nd position, but he's fallen all the way to the back. I think there might have been a penalty for the previous wreck.
It looks like Nicholas Sacco is trying to make that Swag TV machine proud here, getting up there into the 3rd position again. Or actually, sorry, the 4th position. No, I was right the first time. He's back up into the 3rd position already. Now, he started outside pole at the beginning of this race, I'm pretty sure. And he was at least the fast guy in practice. And here he is working his way into the top 3. Gagnon trying to run down the leader, also in that ComServe Toyota. See what it comes down to here. Garrett Maines still got a stronghold on the lead. Has he led every lap so far?
He has led every single lap of this race, and he almost led every single lap last race at Dover, except for there was one time where he laid off a little bit to save tires and somebody passed him, but then after he was done doing that, he made his way all the way back up to the field and ended up winning stage 2. So I'm wondering if he's going to do the same thing where he might lay back a little bit. Right now he has a 7/10 lead over Brandon Gagnon.
Back here in 5th, we have the number 2 truck, Jason Maines, has just broke into the top 5, actually, passing Jimmy Frazier here. Things are happening fast here at the New Hampshire. The magic mile here, as they call it. A lot of magic happening here for the 2 truck. Coming from the very back, he is the deepest starter in this field, and he is already into the top 4 here. Trying to make his statement in stage 2.
Yeah, if there's someone, if he can keep it up, there's always a hard charger award, and I feel like if he continues doing what he's doing, then I think he deserves the hard charger award.
Oh, absolutely. Another battle here a little bit further back. Looking into the top 5, Billy Weeks and Jimmy Frazier battling it out. Up front, we still got a lot of action, but we got the 14 truck making a move on Jimmy Frazier. Jimmy Frazier must not be too happy with that truck now. He made that run in the last run, the last stage there to get back to the front, but it looks like the 14 truck's trying to make a move. Did they make a little bit of contact there?
Yeah, looks like the front end might have made a little bit of contact with the rear quarter panel of the 6 car. They're still side by side. Oh, a little bit more contact. And the 14.
There's some tight racing. I'm curious how the 6 feels about that. I know the 14 was just getting his nose, and they get together in a 95 and a 68 truck down a backstretch there.
And I think he's got him. Billy Weeks has the Jimmy Frazier machine cleared. Oh, and caution. Do you see who it was?
Yeah, I did. It was Nick Horvath in the 68 truck, or actually, sorry, the 95 truck. Gets into the outside wall just as we seen earlier. Gets really close, overcorrects, comes down on the 68 truck. We're going to see in a replay here. Here we go, Swag TV replay, brought to you by ComServe Wireless. You can see the 95 truck here, there, Atlee. Just gets a little bit tight.
Yeah, he moves down on the straightaway, makes contact with the 68. Just a racing deal, especially at a track like New Hampshire. Let's watch this one more time. He was part of that battle with Jimmy Frazier and Billy Weeks, and he was running that very, very high line to try to see if he could have anything for the Jimmy Frazier and Billy Weeks, and he was continuing to run in that gray area of the turn and just gets a little bit too high, tries to go back down, and he ends up getting into Ryan Kendall.
He actually makes a complete 360. Seems to keep the truck in pretty good condition other than the rear and where he got together with the 68 truck as for the 95. But I'm sure Ryan Kendall in that 68 truck not too pleased with how that worked out. He was just trying to make a move, get into racing with the 95, and before you knew it, he was around on the backstretch. And once you're headed straight towards that inside wall, it's hard to get it stopped. You hit the grass and you slide right into it, knock the radiator out of the thing. Seems as though he's probably done for the day.
Yeah, he's on pit road. Horvath is. And so is Ryan Kendall. Looks like Ryan Kendall is already 2 laps down. Has a lot of damage. If I were him, I'd be very frustrated with what happened right there. But we'll see if he can get all of his damage fixed.
Now, did Matthew Lee, it looks like he got his lap back. So he's back in the thick of things. Now, he's done opposite a hard charger. He's had the bad luck break here. Not sure what you call that, but I'll say he fell from 2nd to 12th here in this race with a lot of damage, but he's back in the thick of things, and he's come to pit road a few times, still fixing damage on that machine.
Right, he's on pit road as we speak, and right now he's in the 10th position. That is going to be this caution right here, the 3rd caution, not counting stage breaks here at New Hampshire, and pretty much all 3 cautions had to do with just a race and deal.
Not too much you can be upset as a driver. I would imagine that once you see the replay, you're going to understand that they were just trying to get everything they could get. 2 of those accidents up off of 2. I would say the turn 1 accident may be a little different story for Matthew Lee. I'm curious to see if he gets back into this race, what he's going to do when he gets back up there into the top 10 or top 5. Actually, he's starting behind Peyton, I believe, on this restart. He'll be right there. So actually, him and Peyton are the one that got into it on that restart. We'll see what happens. If Matthew's still a little bit displeased, he's got a shot here. I think if he's smart, he just forgets about it, has a short-term memory, and goes and tries to get back into the top 3 where he was fighting earlier.
Looks like he's been on pit road for 3 minutes and 30 seconds, is 4 laps down. I think that Ryan Kendall, unless something happens, he is done for the day.
Absolutely. We got the lights off the pace car here. We're about to go green into turn 3 and 4.
We'll see if Nicholas Sacco has anything for Garrett Maines. The 2 car, the other Maines in this race, Jason Maines, he is right behind Garrett. And the pace car pulls in. We are back green here at New Hampshire. Jason Maines gets another good restart. The 2 car of Jason Maines is right there. He is side by side with Nicholas Sacco going into the turns. Look who's in the top 5, Derek Fulton. He's in 5th.
Yeah, he's made his way back up there after that long pit road deal. But Jason Maines, who I'm looking at, the 1 and 2 trucks, they're trying to make it 1-2 Maines brothers, or I'm not sure what they are, but it looks like they both came from the same gene pool because they got a lot of talent. He's working his way all the way from the back, all the way up into the top 3 here, putting a fight onto the 29 truck of Nicholas Sacco. And it seems the cream of the crop has come to show up here. The top 5 is tight. We got a little bit of a battle there back from 5th, bumper to bumper. See who gives.
Yeah, it looks like Nicholas Sacco has increased the gap over him and Jason a little bit. Garrett staying out front. Matthew Lee right now, he is currently in the 10th position. We'll see how he tries to make his way up through the field. Those are just not even all the storylines here coming in. We're closing in to the stage 2 break.
Ooh, the 46 truck and 83 there, a little bit further back. They're getting into a tight battle. They just broke apart a little bit, but just a lap ago, they made a little bit of contact. I imagine if they cut, they're going to squeeze in here under Derek Fulton. 46 truck's going to follow through, but I think he was trying to make a move on the 83 just a lap ago. They made a little bit of contact. We'll see what happens here, but I'm sure something's going to transpire.
The 46, he's about to the quarter panel of the 83. They make it by Derek Fulton. Derek Fulton falls to 7th where he started this race. And oh, the 46 is gonna bump the 83.
The 46 moves him. I'm sure Brandon has something to say about that. He got into him pretty good there on an entry of 3, which I can tell you from a driver's perspective, if you get hit on the entry, it does not make you too happy at all. You get bumped in the center, it's totally fine, pass me there, but you get bumped on entry and you get pretty upset.
Well, looks like that bump might have knocked something in that car that made it go fast, because he ends up passing Billy Weeks for 4th, and Peyton Howell, he falls way, looks like he's manually disconnected. Peyton Howell has manually disconnected. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, he must have disconnected there, but the 83 truck, he must have put it in, shifted it into the Rampage gear, because he has gone from running 5th and about to get past to blowing by the 14 truck, and now he's working into the top 3. Something must have kicked him into gear here. He's running a really oddball highline compared to everybody else. He enters up a little bit above the bottom 3 strips, but when he comes off, he's 2 car widths from the top groove there, and he's making up ground now on the top 3.
And it's working for him. He is only 3/10 off of Jason Maines. Yep, he's going to get right under him. He's going to start setting up a pass to see if he can make a by. He goes low. And
definitely made a great move there. That's how you set up the pass, and you peek up a little bit in the center there to try to get to drive off, and a 2 truck essentially gave it to him there. I believe he's playing for the 200 lap race here. He knows there's 22 laps left in the stage, no reason to fight. Let Gagnon go wear out the tires and come back and get them later.
Right, Gagnon is running that very high line as he's starting to catch up to Nicholas Sacco in the 29. He wants that 2nd place position.
Absolutely, he's working hard. It's like that bump shot him into the stratosphere here. He is flying right now. He's running 30 90s, and as we spoke before, the 4 tires were barely running 90s for Derek Fulton earlier when he got him fresh and was coming to the front. And here he is. He's just ran a 30.888 and takes the 2nd position at will. It's like he's on new tires, but we know he's not. He's flying right now.
He actually does have fresher tires than Garrett Maines. He has 11 lap tires compared to 26. So he does actually have...
Oh, you're right.
Yep, he does have fresher tires than Garrett Maines, and he's starting to catch him.
You're right. Yeah, I forgot that middle caution there between the stage and where we're at right now. He does have a little bit better tires. I did not even think about coming down. That was a smart strategy by 83 after watching what Fulton did earlier. He has made his way all the way to the front, and he's going to start working on Garrett Maines. Can somebody else lead a lap here besides Garrett Maines? That's the question. I think Garrett's going to try to hold him off. He's been pretty smart with the tires so far. We'll see what happens.
Right, Garrett Maines, he was able to hold Derek Fulton off when he was challenging for the lead, but I don't know if he's going to be able to hold off Brandon Gagnon considering how much momentum he has, only 4/10 behind him.
Looking at the race breakdown, it looks as though Peyton Howell was disqualified. Must have been something to do with incident markers. So when he got together there earlier, he must have, between the early wreck and what had happened between the 2 there, with the bump onto, who was he getting it into? I apologize. I believe it was Matthew Lee early on.
No, it was Gagnon, actually.
And then it was, yeah, then Gagnon later in the race. It looks like between the 2 incidences there, it was just a little too much rough racing for iRacing standards to stay into the heat of the battle. But it looks like Gagnon and Garrett Maines are just going to drive away from the field here. And they're going to try to battle it out with each other with 18 laps to go left in the stage.
Still a lot of time for Brandon Gagnon to try to take stage 2 away from Garrett Maines. And the next car after that is 1.6 seconds behind, so they got it pretty much all to themselves.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I see Nicholas Sacco. I don't know if he's trying to save. I know last run he kind of fell off there pretty quick. I'm curious if he's trying to keep the truck underneath of him for this long run. But again, Brandon Gagnon has evened out with those new tires. That one truck is just too tough to tame here. What do we got for the lap times out front, Atlee? Do you have that right now to comparison?
I did. So last time, Garrett Maines was 2/10 faster than Brandon Gagnon, but that was last lap. Let's see what happened this lap, lap times wise. They're getting on to the front straightaway. So Garrett Maines and Brandon Gagnon, we'll see. So that time by Brandon Gagnon was 1/10 faster than Garrett Maines. He set 2/10 faster than Garrett Maines. He set a 31.0 compared to Garrett Maines' 31.2.
Yeah, he is on rails there, that truck of Brandon Gagnon. If he can put a couple of laps back to back, he'll have a shot to get to that one truck. We're really interested to see what happens between these two here by the end of the stage. 15 to go, have the tires evened out. Does the 83 truck just have enough to get him here? We'll see if anybody can get the all-time lap record here. Like, he is putting on a show here. The one truck is putting on a clinic against these guys, and it seems every battle that gets to his back bumper, he's able to just fight for it and stay out in front. It's like he chooses when to go and when to stay.
Yeah, Garrett Maines, he still has the fastest lap of the race with a 30.216, and it stayed. The only person to get relatively close has been Matthew Lee with a 30.255. I remember we were talking about him earlier. He's currently making a pass or trying to get it by Billy Weeks for 6th. They're side by side right now. A lot of damage on that 04 car.
He's still in it. He's making a great move there on the Billy Weeks truck. Got a lot of races going on around the racetrack. It looks like Matthew Lee is going to pull within the length of the 14 truck and clears him.
Great pass by Matthew Lee. Now he's going to try to catch up to Derek Fulton, who is trying to get by Jason Maines for the 4th position.
Yeah, Derek has worked his way back into the top 5. He's like a yo-yo right now. He's going from the back to the front to the back, and now he's back going into the top 5. And he gets loose there up off of 2. He still keeps it going, and he actually got a run on him. That was an interesting move. I'm not quite sure what he was doing there, but whatever it was, it worked for him good. I think he pushed up off of 2, overreacted, stayed down low, and he actually clears the 2 truck. Jason Maines, what a move by Derek Bolton.
Right, whatever that was really helped him. So he's going to get back out to position number 4 and try to track down Nicholas Sacco.
For a second, I thought we were watching Ryan Hunter-Reay in the IndyCar here breaking a draft. That was an interesting move there by Derek Fulton to clear into the top 5. Actually, the top 4 there is broken into it. Now he sets his sights on Nicholas Sacco. See here, the leaders are stretching it apart from each other.
It looks like Garrett Maines is stretching it over Brandon Gagnon. Brandon Gagnon is 9/8 behind Garrett Maines compared to how he was 4 to 3/10 behind him just a couple laps ago. As this time by, it's going to be 10 to go before the end of stage 2.
I'd love to see the smooth work of here Garrett Maines. If we can get on board of him here, I would love to see how he's working this racetrack, because it's curious to me how he's able to just run away no matter who's behind him. He gets somebody with a fresh set of 4 tires, and they get to him, and he says, see you later. Sayonara, as they say.
Yep, Garrett Maines, I think if he can continue doing what he does, just keep on doing very consistent. That's one thing that Garrett Maines has been, very consistent.
Yeah, when you look at his last even 6 laps, they're all within a few hundredths. As the pace goes, you know, the truck falls off speed a little bit. But he runs typically 3 to 4 laps in a row within a few hundredths, drops down about a 10th, and then another couple laps within a few hundredths of each other. He's able to just keep that truck running the same speed consistently as the tires wear out. For a lot of other guys, they can go run, such as, you know, Brandon, he's struggling a little bit to be able to do the same. He'll pop off a 40 and then a 30 and then back to a 50. He's probably trying all he can to get to that back bumper of Garrett, and it's just not quite working for him. He doesn't have what he needs for New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Right, he's 1 second off of Garrett Maines, and he has fresh tires, 25 lap tires compared to 40, but I think all that's going to change after this stage break. Pretty much everybody's going to have fresh tires after that, and it's going to be an even playing field, and it's going to be the final chance, this third stage, for anybody to try to dethrone Garrett Maines as the leader. I know that the third stage is going to be the most exciting because the fuel window is 50 laps, so fuel is going to cut this stage in half because it's going to be a 100 lap run to the finish. If they keep it green, we had that happen at Dover where it was green the entire time, but there's been a couple cautions this race, a lot of aggressive racing, so we might see a caution that might separate that.
Oh, absolutely. Something the stage breaks bring into racing is the fact that cautions breed cautions, and that the truth about that is you put guys door to door, and eventually something's got to give. They get together, it causes a spin, and somebody else wants to go now, and other people want to go later, and it just all comes to a head. Ends up being a lot more cautions all at one time. So that's why, like we've seen on the restarts with Matthew Lee getting taken out there early on, he's now worked his way back up here. But you see stuff like that. That's what they mean by cautions breed cautions. People getting a little bit too anxious when they get close to another guy.
Right, and somebody might have a different plan than somebody else, and they're racing side by side, so they're thinking different things going into the turns.
Definitely. And right now, two people that are just on a different zip code is Garrett Maines and Brandon Gagnon. Now, Brandon Gagnon is probably like, man, you got to be kidding me. I'm 1.6 seconds back off of Garrett, but yet he's still way ahead of Nicholas Sacco. He's got, what, almost 4 seconds on him right now, and he's got to be saying, you know, I'm better than everybody else in the field, but here I am, and Garrett is just driving away from me. So he's searching all over the racetrack. I've been keeping an eye on him here the last several laps. Through 1 and 2, he has tried just about everything from the very, very high groove to the middle groove. If I'm the spotter, you got to reel it in and just start trying to run your laps, and sometimes the truck will come to you. But I do know how it feels to be in that second position. What you feel, you got a good truck, you're competitive for a win, and you start pushing a little bit harder, and that's where that 10th difference that Garrett is finding. He doesn't have that pressure on him. He knows he's out front. He's going to keep the truck underneath of him and keep trying to be as consistent as possible and run the same line lap after lap after lap. So a lot of races within the race here at New Hampshire. Atlee, I'm really enjoying this so far, coming to 2 laps to go to this third stage.
Yeah, this race has been good so far. We've seen a lot of aggression, but at the same time, we're seeing a lot of patience between everybody. You can tell that there's a mutual respect between a lot of drivers, but at the same time, we've had a few accidents that have been racing deals. So we'll see if anybody's going to have anything for Garrett Maines during this final stage, 100 laps to the finish.
We got 2 guys racing a little bit further back here for 3rd and 4th for this stage. Looks like the Swag-TV machine, the 29 of Nicholas Sacco, is trying to hold off Derek Fulton. Derek has made a move or two underneath of him here. He's going to try to get him. It looks like 1 to go on the stage, or maybe, no, I think 1 to go here on the stage. He's going to peek to the inside of Nicholas. Not quite get him here, but maybe he can get something together off of 2.
Yeah, Derek Fulton, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it. If he can have a good turn, get a great run on entry and execute it throughout the turns. All right, there we go. He goes low, almost down onto the apron. No, I do not think he's going to be able to do it. Garrett Maines is going to win stage 2.
Drives really hard up off there. He got sideways a little bit behind there. He just couldn't quite hold onto the track or onto the truck there on the apron of the racetrack. Just losing the rear end grip once he gets down on that apron. It's a little bit tough here in New Hampshire. Sometimes you're fighting a little bit of a loose condition to stay on the bottom when you need the truck a tick tighter down there. But then you take it to the outside and the truck's perfect. It all changes. That's why these guys start all over the racetrack.
So stage 2 has been completed. It takes us time to thank ComServe Wireless. ComServe Wireless aims to provide a culture of good for its employees, customers, and throughout the communities in which they serve. ComServe Wireless has 27 Verizon Wireless locations between Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, but everyone can shop at ComServeWireless.com. ComServe Wireless enhances Verizon's proven reputation as America's most reliable network with their commitment to providing the speed you need. And we're also going to take this time to take a little break as we get prepared for the final stage, stage number 3.
Studio displays to any company that participates in trade shows. Sometimes it's hard to find a partner that truly sees your vision, and so working with Studio Displays, they were able to take my vision and magnify it even more to set our brand apart in the marketplace. We want to set ourselves apart from our competition, and so we didn't want a traditional trade show booth. So we came to Studio Displays with a challenge, and they raised the bar. They exceeded my expectations, and I would recommend them to anybody.
Welcome back to New Hampshire for the PMI Pavement Truck Marking Series here at New Hampshire for a 200 lap race. Stage 1, Stage 2 have been completed, and now the only reason why we complete Stage 1 and Stage 2 is to get to Stage 3, and this is going to be when I think the action is going to start ramping up.
The money stage, absolutely. This is where everything pays. They pay the purse, they pay for the points, the big points, not just little stage points. So Garrett has so far just dominated, won both stages, stays out front. I still believe he's led every lap. What an incredible performance he's putting on. A lot of people look at it as stinking up the show, but for me, I just love seeing a driver that can just out-handle and out-wheel the competition for this long.
Takes a lot of skill. Yes, looking at this driver long right here, he has led every single lap. He's got 8,352 I rating, and he's in pro for his license. That takes a lot of hard work to get to a pro license. A lot of drivers, big drivers, they're A class maybe, but he is pro. He's been the best of the best. Only 5% of iRacers make it to that license.
Yeah, that's a pretty incredible feat there for him, and he clearly is showing why he's a pro here today. And for these guys to be able to race against that, and that's the other thing, on the racetrack, you know, we see Kyle Busch dabble in a little bit of the stuff. Actually, this weekend, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Noah Gragson, and several others are actually down at the Snowball Derby. You get to see that, and you think, oh, those drivers must not like that, but I love the competitive aspect to be able to follow somebody like that. The lights are off. They're actually about to go green here. Looks like, yep, pace car is off, and Garrett is going to have the choice here, and he takes off. Looks like Derek Fulton's going to follow through there on the bottom into the second position if he can clear the 29 truck of Nicholas Sacco. It looks like not quite enough, and he actually gets a little loose. They get together, Jason there. Jason Maines right into the back of the 7 truck, and it stacks the whole field up.
Looks like the 29 tagged the wall off an exit of 2, which let Derek Fulton get a little bit of a run, but then making that high side work is Nicholas Sacco. He currently has the nose over Derek Fulton running on that high side. He's going to clear him for now, and Derek Fulton is going to fall in line behind him.
I may be, oh, and they actually get together back towards the back of the pack. Let's see here. There's 2, 3 trucks involved. Matthew Lee involved again in a turn 1 incident. We got another truck there down towards the bottom. Jimmy Frazier. Gonna go to the replay here, see what happened to these guys.
So watch Jimmy Frazier on the bottom of Matthew Lee as we enter turns 1 and 2. So Matthew Lee, he's behind Brandon Gagnon. 6, looks like he moves up the track in the turn, makes contact with the 04. Looks like Ryan Kendall had another situation where he had nowhere to go, just runs right in to the 04 of Matthew Lee. 95, makes some contact. Let's take a look at that accident one more time.
You got a feel for Matthew Lee here, Atlee. Deja vu all over again. Early in the race, same exact incident, except on the restart. This is about 1 or 2 laps into the restart, and it looks, if you look real close, right before the 6 truck gets to the 04's door, he locks that left front up, but it looked like regardless, they were going to come together there. The 6 truck just lost his entry, got into him pretty good, sends him up into the fence. Poor Matt Lee battled back from a lap down, gets caught up in another incident and 2 other trucks too.
It's not the day that Matthew Lee has wanted here at New Hampshire. He's going to go down pit road, as does Nick Horvath and Jimmy Frazier.
I can't imagine he's going to have such luck with repairs this time with that hit he took. You never know with iRacing the way it works out, and even in real life, sometimes you have a lot better truck than you had before the wreck. But yes, we're going to see a lot of pit road work done here. He's got 90 laps still. Try to make up for being in another incident. He has proven to do so earlier. He was up into the top 8 at that point. Hopefully he can do the same thing again and put on a show. But we got a lot of trucks here injured on pit road.
Yep, Nick Horvath, Jimmy Frazier, Matthew Lee were the main drivers that had damage. I'm surprised Ryan Kendall didn't go onto pit road despite getting right into that accident. He's 3 laps down. Jason Rominger is 1 lap down.
Yeah, he got into that pretty good, right? He got into that. He's the one that hit there, Matthew Lee, when he was stopped up high, right?
Yeah, he ran right into that accident.
Yeah, that's tough. I'm curious if he realized how bad the damage was. It may be motor damage, something that's a little bit unrepairable. Yeah, he hit him right in that left rear quarter. He didn't hit him square on the rear, which is good news for Matthew Lee. It hopefully did not bend the rear end, just bent body damage, which is still can be very severe. It could have bent frame too. You don't know for sure until you see it on the racetrack, but the 68 did make 1 pit stop there. Looks like he's come down finally, right?
Yep, he's on in the pits as we speak, getting some work done on that machine. There he is right there. But a lot of drivers have not had the days they wanted, but one driver who has is Garrett Maines. Led every single lap, and we'll see if he can lead every single lap all the way to the finish.
I think that's his goal, unless somebody pries that lead from his hands. It's possible he could go on to lead all 200 here, a feat only really accomplished by the late great Jeff Burton. Was something to watch. You know, we had Martin Truex very close to it a few years ago in the Coke 600, almost led all of them. Didn't quite pull it off, but man, still what a feat by him. Led 396 of the 400 laps at Charlotte that night. But something that is hard to be repeated was him, and also Dale Jr. did it. I believe it was the Xfinity race at Daytona. But anyway, we're coming back to the green flag here. I'll let you go here, Atlee. Call him to the green.
All right, pace car is about to pull in. And he does. So here we go. Garrett Maines, it's all on him on this restart. He gets a great restart. Pulls out in front of Nicholas Sacco. Does Derek Fulton have anything for that 29 car? He gets there, but the 29 is going to clear him.
We got them racing side by side for third. The field stacks up behind them, 3 wide there towards the back, as you can see on our broadcast. Looks like one car is going to give, let him go, but Derek Fulton fighting for his life here. He started right there in third, but he's eventually was up the second for a second, but then he's just fallen off. That inside line just can't prevail here on the early run. Very tough to pin that truck on the bottom and get enough of a run down the straightaway to clear the front bumper to the guy above.
So Jason Maines, he's going to clear him for third, and they fall. It looks like we're mostly single file.
Got one slide job. Matthew Lee, I guess he's got enough in it, or is there enough trucks that got damaged he can compete? He just cleared the 14 truck there, back a little bit. He takes the position away, he's cleared. So he's actually, with the carnage that's happened through this race, he's not too bad off. Looks like he's fought his way back into the top 6.
Wow, he's catching up to Brandon Gagnon right here. I think in the next couple of laps, he'll be right there competing for a position. Speaking of competing for a position, Jason Maines is right up there with Nicholas Sacco trying to get second away from him.
Oh, absolutely. I think if you're any of these guys from second to dead last, you gotta be watching what the one's doing here and do whatever he doesn't do, because he's controlled this race. He has left the field. Now that they're on an even playing field, same as last stage, he's taken off. I think you're gonna have to go, you know what, guys, let's all come down pit road now and get us some fresh rubber. Maybe not at this point in the race, but later on, if there's a caution, it's gonna be the only way to beat this one truck. He's just on a whole nother level speed wise.
And even if the one truck does have to go onto pit road when everybody else does, he's got that front pit road position. He has that front stall right by where you have to make it, and so that is definitely an advantage to have like the highest, have the highest pit stall. If you don't know, qualifying determines, so you get the choice. So if you qualify first, then you get to choose what pit stall you have, and there's some strategy to it.
Oh, absolutely. And most guys will take that front stall just so you have that clear path out of pit road. You have a clear path in the stall. You know nobody's going to be turning across your hood. It works out great if you stay out front. You can keep that advantage. The other great pit stall I wish that I could have is that rear pit stall. That's another time to talk about that. But really, that to be able to speed into the first pit stall on pit road with nobody worried about hitting you in the left rear or running in the back of you is really nice. The one truck goes in that front. He's able to get the jump and stay out front as he has all day. We got a little battle back, second through third. Derek Bolton peaking, but Garrett just continues to show his strength. These guys, Jason Maines and Derek Bolton, 29 truck to Swag TV. I may be a little biased. That truck is very, very good looking. Classic Rusty Wallace colored 29, but looking good here, sitting in the second position as Derek peaks to the bottom of the 2 truck.
Yep, Derek Fulton, he's making a move, trying to get by Jason Maines for that third position. He's about to the quarter. We'll see how well he can do in 3 and 4.
What I've seen is like Matthew Lee, he pulls out a side jump and he's actually still coming, so that damage must not be too awful when he got hit on the left rear. But Gagnon's got himself back into the thick of things here. But you know, you see what Derek Bolton's doing. He gets to the bottom and he just can't complete the pass, and it's very frustrating as a driver when you know you're faster than somebody and can't complete it. Right here is where you got to start thinking slide job. You got to be able to dive it in there, clear the guy above you, and get the preferred line and make him miss you. Know that bumper might come to the back bumper and send you a little bit sideways, but it's the only option you got here if you don't want to burn off the tires.
And I'm wondering if we're going to see that from Derek Fulton, if he's going to try to do that. He doesn't have as much momentum as that 2 car. But
right here is when he's got to do it here, Atlee. If he does not pull the slide job here, it's a opportunity not taken, and there it is. He does not pull it off. He needs to get that nose out in front of the 2 truck by about half a car length, like he has the last 2 times. And now the 83 said enough's enough. I'm gonna go 3 wide into 1. And he backs out. Smart move by the 83, but it made the 2 think, and the 7 truck, Derek Fulton's going to take over the position. Gagnon falls back in line, still peaking on the 2 truck.
And Gagnon, he's going to try to get by the 2 car, but that 3 wide definitely helped Derek Fulton move into the 3rd position. Here's Gagnon. He's on the quarter panel of the 2 of Jason Maines. Look who's also here, Matthew Lee in that 04 car.
Yeah, nothing can keep Matthew Lee down. A lap down, he's had damage left and right, been in 2 accidents, and yet he's still battling into the top 5 here after all of that. The 83 truck, though, peaking hard on a 2. He can't quite get to the door to try to pull off a slide job, but looks like Derek Fulton, like I said, he got in front of the 2 truck, and now he's running down a 29. He was clearly getting held up by the 2. The 2's just trying to hang on for dear life.
Right, he's getting a lot of big battles going on him and Brandon Gagnon. Brandon Gagnon has not quite been able to make it by the 2 car. We'll see if he's going to try to do that one thing that you mentioned. It's a little
Here's an 83 truck. Yeah.
Slide job.
Sorry. Yeah, he doesn't quite have enough on him there. If he can clear him by about half a car length, that's the only time you can try to pull off that slide job. It's a little tough, but you kind of gotta bite the bullet. Derek Fulton come out on the good side of things here. He's gonna make the move. He was patient. But Gagnon, you see Gagnon gets together with the 2 truck there. And that's going to cost him some right front damage. Just like I was saying, being too patient actually can get you in more trouble than just making an aggressive move you got to make. They both fell back, lost the position. Looks like the 04 Matthew Lee breaches into the top 4 now.
A little bit of damage, a little bit of left front damage on that 2 car. And for passes, I feel like there's 3 zones. If you get your nose to the quarter panel, it's not going to be quite able. But if you get to about their side, hold your line, try to get by them, and then if you have your nose in front of them, I'd go for it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's tough because early in a race, maybe not, but towards the end of the run, you got to bite the bullet and decide whether it's going to be you or him. You don't want to take the guy out by no means, but if you think you can clear his nose and get up in front of him, it may be worth taking that shot. But it looks as though Derek Fulton moved up into the 2nd spot while we were talking there. He's taking his thing, and he's actually driven away by about 10 car lengths. Garrett Maines in another zip code, but the fight for 2nd has been taken over by Derek Fulton.
Yeah, when you mean another zip code, you mean it. He's 3.8 seconds ahead of 2nd place Derek Fulton. He's just out there on a leisurely Sunday drive. This same thing happened last race at Dover where he got himself to a 4-lap lead. I think right about now is going to be the time that we're going to see drivers start shuffling in one by one into the pits.
Absolutely, and you can actually see here, if we go back again, the 83, we were watching that just a moment ago with the 83 and the 2 truck. We got Jason Maines and Gagnon battling side by side. This time Gagnon's got the gap a little bit on the nose, but he actually brakes early. The 2 truck tries to pin him down, and Gagnon clears him with the patience. But remember, we were talking about patience sometimes can really cost you over being a little bit aggressive. Right now, the 83 truck just a moment ago was battling for the 3rd position. He's now just battled back into the 5th position, yet the 14 truck, who was several seconds behind these 2 when they were battling for that top 3, is now on their bumper. It has taken their chances for a win almost completely out of it unless something happens here on pit road strategy. But if it stays green, you cost too much time trying to be nice with your buddy there. But Gagnon does clear. He's in the top 4. Hopefully he can set sail after it cost him so much time there.
Yep, he's got to try to get up now. It's Matthew Lee in that 04 car who's a distance ahead.
Yeah, and it's a little role reversal here. I see the 2 truck is actually bringing back in Gagnon.
Yeah, I'm wondering to see if he's going to be able to... Yep, whoa, a lot of momentum on entry of 1 there. Gets all the way up to the bumper, and he's staying pretty close to him.
It's some drivers like a little rabbit to chase, as we call it. You know, the dog chases the rabbit around the dog track. And here we got the 2 truck was not very competitive with the 83. I mean, he was holding them off, and it seemed like the 83 was really getting held up. Now the 2 is something a little bit in his front windshield to chase, and he's able to run him back down and stay with him here.
Yep, I'm a racer myself, and I always feel as though I'm running a lot faster lap times when I'm chasing someone.
Oh, absolutely, Atlee. That's such a big thing, and you get in practice, you find the guy that's the fastest on the track, and you follow him because he'll teach you some stuff, and you'll start learning things on your own, and next thing you know, you're able to run with that guy and out drive him. That's what I was talking about earlier with, you know, having a guy like Garrett Maines. He's kind of the Kyle Busch of this situation that comes down from a pro series, and he's racing against these guys, and you're like, man, you know, it's just not fair. But it actually, as a driver like Derek Fulton's, who's followed in line behind him, he's able, maybe not from this gap, but when he gets behind him on one of these restarts, he's able to see what he's doing a little bit different, compare entries, and it's a little bit of a lot of things. It can be such as just getting on the brakes a little bit earlier, maybe a little bit later. It could be, oh, his truck's turning a little bit better on entry, and I need to adjust the way I drive into the corner to fix that. So stuff like that Garrett Maines, even though he's dominating, he's also, as they say, taking them to school. These guys are learning from him.
Right, and of course, like you said, Derek Fulton can't exactly get a good view of Garrett Maines considering that he's 5 seconds ahead of him, but the more the gap increases, I think right about now is going to be the time that these drivers are going to start cycling in. The cars in the back go in a little bit sooner than the cars up front just because you're a little bit nervous. Do you want to get fresh tires and maybe make your way up through the field faster, or do you want to keep your track position? That's going to be the question that the spotters and the drivers are going to be discussing right now.
So if I'm not running for points, I would love to come down pit road as early as my fuel cycle will let me. That being, I had the freshest tires on the track, and I can make up the most ground while everybody else wrestles their ill-handled machines on old tires around the racetrack. At this stage of the race, if I'm not running in the top 5, that's a chance I'm willing to take, because as we see, they're running 31. Jimmy Frazier is running a 31.7. Let's see, Garrett, he's running a 31.3 last lap. These cars are starting at the 30.5 range, as fast as 30.2 at some occasions, and that second and a half coming out of pit road with brand new tires, you can really gain on somebody that has a big gap on you, such as Derek Fulton. Derek Fulton could short pit here and get himself right back in the thick of things, but he's got to hope for a caution once Garrett comes down and pits. So it's a little bit iffy of a strategy, but it's something you can do if you're just that far back. You're back 6.2 seconds. You go out there, think 1 second a lap, 6 laps. He made up 6 seconds after that pit strategy.
Of course, though, if a caution does come out while there is green flag pit stops, there's going to be a lot of good drivers that went in. They're going to be stuck 1 lap down because they hadn't made up their lap yet when the caution came out. That's happened a lot with these long races with long green flag runs.
Absolutely, 100%. Great point that you bring up there, and that's what I'm saying about the points, is if I'm not running for points, it's a chance I take. What I mean by that is if I'm here to win the race and I'm Derek Fulton, I come down pit road. But if I'm in the points, I don't want to do too much, because doing too much can cost a lot of drivers. It costs a lot of drivers championship. That's why guys like Logano and Busch have won, because they didn't do too little, they didn't do too much. They just evened it out. They ran their own race, and they didn't think too hard about the strategy. They end up out on top at the end of the race.
So we're now nearing 140 of 200 laps here, as this has been a very long green flag run. Garrett Maines now has gotten his lead all the way up to 6 seconds over Derek Fulton, who was, looks like Matthew Lee. He made it by Nicholas Sacco. He's beginning to catch him. As they got lap traffic.
Absolutely, yeah. Matthew Lee looking to peek his way into the top 2. What a comeback by him. Very impressed with Matthew Lee's composure. He's kept his cool, and he works his way back here, working up on the Derek Fulton machine.
Right, had gotten to that incident on the restart of, I believe, stage 2 with Peyton Howell in the 11 machine, and then gotten another wreck with the 6 of Jimmy Frazier. After that, he had a lot of damage from both of those, and he has made his way all the way up to 3rd, is competing for 2nd with Derek Fulton, and then he'll be right into the thick of things. Of course, even if he does pass Derek Fulton, he's still going to be 7 seconds behind Garrett Maines.
Yeah, Matthew Lee's just got a lot of left side damage, which tells you he's had a lot of guys to the inside of him that have not quite given him the room that he has given to other people on the outside of him. He's got that conserved wireless car coming back to the front, though. Looks like he's got a little bit faster of a truck than Derek Fulton here. We'll see what it comes down to. And when do you know when the gas mileage starts coming into play? Because we're 42 laps on a run. I'm thinking these guys might be able to breach 80 laps. I'm not quite sure, though.
So it's going to be 50 laps about for fuel, but a lot of drivers, if they stay out long enough, it'll be about 30 added to that 50 laps. So, like you said, I think 80 is going to be the one that a lot of drivers up front. Garrett Maines, I know, is going to stay out as long as he possibly can, milk almost all of the fuel out of that truck until he can't possibly go anymore, and then pull in.
Oh, absolutely. That's if you're Garrett Maines, you can't do anything that takes you out of the game. You just got to be smart. No speeding on pit road. Don't beat yourself. That's the number one thing that DW always says is don't beat yourself. You put it on the dash. You beat it. You put that in your head going into every race. Don't beat yourself, because that's a true thing. You can really cost yourself a win or even a top 3 finish by coming down pit road, speeding, or missing your pit box. Something that I tend to do a little bit. I try to make up a little bit, and I lose a lot by skidding right by the pit box.
Speaking of pit stops, Brandon Gagnon, and looks like Jimmy Frazier, Jonathan Thompson, Jason Rominger. So yeah, Brandon Gagnon, Jimmy Frazier, Jonathan Thompson, Jason Rominger, all are going on to pit road. So these are like the first drivers that are dipping their feet into the water and getting some new fuel and some new tires.
A good decision. If you can make it on fuel to the end, I believe most of these guys should have plenty of tires left in the bank. They had 6 sets to start the race. I'm counting maybe 3 or 4 sets at max taken. Probably four sets, I'm imagining. Most of these guys have probably taken, besides Garrett, has only gotten 2 on those last 2 cautions. But to me, if you got plenty of tire, you come down, you try to make up for it. You got the field is strung out. You have a spotter on iRacing. They're able to tell you if they think there's going to be a caution coming up. Most of these guys are smart professional drivers, can handle the truck on a long run. But if they're door-to-door, such as we may have here with Derek Fulton and Matthew Lee eventually, you keep an eye on something like that. Because if they get together, the caution comes out, and now all of a sudden, like Atlee was saying, you're caught under a lap. You're a lap down, and you can't make up that ground that we were talking about earlier on a strategy.
Yeah, one of those drivers, like, for example, Brandon Gagnon. He was up there in the rankings, and now he has fast tires. So watch a lot of these fast drivers who are fast go onto pit road, get some new tires, and then start to work their way up through the field, maybe all the way up to Garrett Maines, where after a long time, while Garrett Maines is milking the last bits of fuel out of his truck, you're going to see a couple drivers flying by him and getting their laps back.
Oh, absolutely. Brandon Gagnon just ran his best lap of the race, a 30.390, and he's reeling in Matthew Lee like he's standing still. I'm going to see here, yeah, they're a second and a half faster nearly than the guys with old tires. So if they're able, such as Derek Fulton, if he can come down and pit, and he's got, what's his gap right now? 8.5 seconds. He needs to be able to pit and make about a 10 to 15 lap run before Garrett pits, and he can make up that gap. And you wouldn't believe it, Garrett wouldn't believe it, if he came out and all of a sudden Derek flip-flopped him. That's how quick it can go on pit road. Matthew Lee to the pits now as we speak.
Interesting. Here's Brandon Gagnon. He's making a pass on Derek Fulton, and he's now going to try to track down Garrett Maines. Like you said, Matthew Lee, also Billy Weeks went on to pit road, went 1 lap down.
So Gagnon looks to be the first car a lap down. So right now it's lucky for him. He's fortunately to be in the lucky dog position. So he'll get that free pass if the caution does come out, which does give him a chance to come down and get fresh tires. So right now the strategy for him is paid off because he's in that position. If he can hold on to it, that is.
Right, but at the same time, all the other drivers, Matthew Lee, Jimmy Frazier, Billy Weeks, Jonathan Thompson, they're all going to be stuck 1-2 laps down.
Oh my goodness, and a caution flies. I'm not sure where at on the racetrack, but we have a yellow. That's going to put nearly the whole field a lap down. That puts just the top 4 back involved in this. The only 2 people that are going to get paid off for this, or that it's going to pay off for, is maybe Brandon Gagnon and possibly anybody who was just on pit road when that yellow came out. Wow, worst case scenario.
Yeah, I'm not sure who exactly was involved in that wreck.
So here's what this is going to bring into, Atlee, from what I'm saying, that the top 4 are still going to have to pit, which gives the opportunity for the remainder of the field to take a wave around. So the good news for everybody that is a lap down, or just a lap down if they only lost a lap, is going to be able to get a lap back. Now, the only problem with that is they're not going to be able to come down and freshen up their tires like the one truck in the top 3 is, and also Brandon Gagnon, our free pass car. Brandon Gagnon gets an advantage with that free pass to come around, freshen up his tires, so his strategy paid off. Not so good for guys like Matthew Lee, who just missed the break. He's now going to be sitting on old tires coming to this restart.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. So while we wait for all this to get settled out, we are going to take a quick break as we get set for this final little run.
An exhibit fabricator for studio displays. I've worked for studio for about 8 or 9 years. I had a friend who worked here. I was already a carpenter, and he sent me to talk to Tom